It's another day. Um, I've just completed doing the scrub and strip of the deck and the clean, and that's all we got. It's very wet, so it looks great at the moment, but once it dries out I don't expect it to hold that colour. The option I went with, because I had a feeling that wouldn't turn out to be all super clean and smooth and nice and uniform colour, is I actually went with a stain. We're just going to go a bit dark here for a second until I come out in the light. So I decided to actually go with a stain, not a decking oil. And of course I had to run it past my boss, my sister. She has the last say on anything, whether it's to do with her or not. So yeah, I just sort of I spoke to some people at Cabot's and got some really good advice. I had the Cabot's website open and I said to her, okay, what colour do you like? I'd already picked out a colour, which was called Blackburn, and she went through all the colour samples and she goes, I like that colour, and it happened that it was Blackburn as well, so it was a unanimous decision. So this is a grey, which will go in nice, I think, with my roof and my gutters. I don't think it will be too much, because obviously there's a lot of brickwork here, so brickwork is going to break up the grey, and then the window frames will be black, so that is another, although it's dark, it's another contrast. You can sort of see that with the door. If you sort of compare the door to the door frame, this is a light brown, this is obviously black. You can see the difference in contrast, so I'm hoping that's enough to break it up. I think it'll go in well with the hand railing, the colour of the hand railing and the treads as well, being a grey. It's not going to detract too much from the fact that your treads are grey, and then if you stayed with the natural Merbau colour, that you're stepping onto like an orangey brown deck. So I think it should turn out nice. I will let this thoroughly dry, and then midweek, when it's supposed to be absolutely spot on weather-wise, I'm going to hit this with the stain. I bought a applicator brush to make it easier. Now, I watched a couple of YouTube videos and they said don't go out and buy all the proper staining buckets. Yeah, fair enough if you're a tradie and you're doing it every day, but if you're just doing it one time at home, just use a paint tray. Just buy a cheap ass $2 paint tray like that. I had one in the shed already, and that's enough, because yeah, it's enough to dip your applicator in. So I stuck with a Cabot's one, so I've used all Cabot's products. Another day, doing a bit more work on the deck, so I'm just getting everything finalised now, just putting in all the boards on the front. I did have boards cut for the side here out of some old timber, some old leftover stuff, but because I had enough off-cut left over from the timber I bought to complete the side here and the front here, I've just decided to whip up a couple of new sides so the step looks really nice. So it's all pre-cut, it's all ready to go in. I've just drilled this one in along the front, so that's going to look nice. It's going to hold the 3 treads in. I don't think the gap's too big. It's as good as it's going to get for what timber I had, or eco deck I had left over. So I think it's worked out pretty good. So hopefully today, once I get these bottom 2 boards in, I'll move around to the side. I'll get those drilled out, and if time permits, I'll get the first coat on today, if time doesn't permit, I'm quite lucky because the next 3 days that follow today, there's no rain. So if I can get, say, 2 coats done tomorrow, and I'm allowing extra drying time, normally it's about 2 hours in summer. If I allow, say, 4 hours between coats, I should be able to get 2 coats on, and then another coat the following day. Okay, as you can see, it's dark now. It's about 6 o'clock. Been at it all day. Yeah, got quite a bit of work done today on the deck. Got all my side panels screwed in, and that side panel screwed in. I got the thin piece that I was trying to straighten out actually screwed in, so now there's no gap between the boards and the concrete there. I cut all the timbers for the front here, and because I had leftover, as I said a little earlier, I cut all new sides. No, it's a little hard to see in the dark, but cut all new sides. Just got to do a little bit of tweaking there, but the miter cuts are pretty damn good for a bricklayer. Hi everyone, it's another day. Kicked the big goal today, finally finished all the timber work. So yeah, thank God that's over. And you know what, doing this last bit of timber work, I never snapped a single drill bit, never snapped a single screw. So I don't know what was going on with the decking, with all the deck boards. We just went through so many drill bits. But anyway, it's all done. The only problem I had was where I got this timber from. I think the guys loaded me car up one piece too short, because I needed 5 for here. As you can see, I've got 5 for there, and I needed 3 for the front, and I've only got 4. I've only got 4 at 2.4. So I've had to sort of scrape a bit of the old stuff out of the trailer, grab that out of the trailer, and I've had to put a joint in down here. But I don't think that this is going to be a major problem, because it's the last board, and who knows, there could be grass growing right up to there, or there might be a flower bed or something put in here to try and stop grass growing up underneath the deck. So I've got some ideas for here, so I'll just float a few of them around and see what I like. But it's come up pretty good. It's come up as good as it's going to get, to be honest. It was real hard here to saw to try and get it straight, because we've had this ground surge which has lifted these 2 center posts, and I sort of had no choice. I had to screw it in here to hold it in place, but I didn't put anything in here. I think actually I've got to think now. Well, yeah, so I got a post here. I got a post here, so I didn't screw any of those boards down except for the bottom 2, because if it drops, it could end up tightening up the gap between the boards, and if I need to make some adjustments later on, and I haven't drilled them yet, that's going to be good. I can just I'll be drilling them the first time after everything settles again. And I know it's definitely an upsurge, because I've got cracking inside the house, plasterboard or drywall, what you call it in some countries. I've got cracking in that. This timber back door, this wooden back door, I can't actually get it open at the moment. it is jammed shut. So I'm going to have to wait till the warmer weather and everything sort of shrinks again, and then I'll be able to open that. So it's a good thing I've got the sliding door there, so I've at least got a second means of escape in case of an emergency. So yeah, but I'm happy, you know. It's come up pretty good for second-hand materials. All bar what's along there and what's surrounding the step. Everything else is second-hand. I had to do a little repair here. I think I mentioned this in yesterday's clip. I actually balls this up and I'd cut it short. So what I've done, I've just stuck this down with some liquid nails. And what I'll do is I'll wait till that goes off, and then I'll just dig that out. Just dig it out to about, I don't know, about a quarter of the way in. So it still gives you a bit of a gap. And some of the caulking, what do you call it? Caulking filler that I used in the back room when I did the floating floor. I've used that to fill that hole there. So I've still got a bit of that floating around in the garage somewhere, so I'll just use that to fill that hole, and it's all good. I just checked the forecast. Very surprising. It was supposed to rain on Saturday. Today is Thursday. I was hoping to have at least a second coat on by now, but not being good with timber work, you know, I'm a little slower, so everything sort of yeah, went a little bit slower than it should have, but it's done, and there's nothing stopping me putting a coat on now, although the skies look gloomy. They've actually extended the forecast for good weather until next Tuesday, so I've gained an extra 2 days of no rain. So it's Thursday now, so I've got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday to get it done. So if I can't get 3 coats of stain on this in 5 days, something's wrong. So I'm just going to start taping up all around the posts now, and around, not that it matters really, around the pipes, because I've got to touch them up from scratching them with the belt sander, but I'll still tape them up, tape up those, all the posts. Once all that's taped up, I can remove these boards. I haven't yet screwed these treads down, so they can be removed, and then it is well, it's nearly ready for staining. I've got a couple of biro marks here that I'm just going to sand out just to be on the safe side. I don't think they'll come through the stain, but you just never know. Had some issues here on this corner with these miter cuts. Like they're pretty good. They're as square as they're going to get. The leg that I welded on here is a little bit out of plumb. Not much, but with miter cuts, you've got to be, if you're drilling hard up against it, it's not like plaster, cornice and plaster, where you can put a little bit more filler or a little bit more stud adhesive behind it and sort of pack it out. This is hard screwed to the metal structure, so you know, it had to be pretty spot on, and I had to do a little bit of modification on this bottom one to close up the gap because of the leg being slightly out, but I don't think anybody's going to pick it once it's stained. I had that little hole here where I cut the board too short. I thought I saw the mark I marked on this board, but it turned out not to be the mark, and I ended up falling a bit short. So I've cut a nice little piece for that. I haven't glued it in, but it'll just sit there because I've got a bracket behind that holds this leg for the deck to the concrete, so it can't push that way and it can't push back. So I had to sort of pry that in by pushing that board. So that's not going to go anywhere. It's nice and tight. So I've pretty much filled my my two little mistakes, and yeah, once I fill that little triangular hole there, hopefully you shouldn't notice it. I was thinking about boxing in around these pipes. I've got sort of enough material left to do it. These are just a couple of the new offcuts that I've got, but I've got a whole trailer of offcuts under a metre that are still in very good condition, and I was thinking about just boxing the small one, not necessarily the large one. I don't want anything like running all the way up to the eaves. I just think it'll look a little bit funny, so, but I wouldn't mind boxing this one. But I can build that and then just install it later on. Build it, stain it, do everything I need to do, and then just sit it, basically just push it straight over the top. Okay, we're going to have a crack at staining this deck. So we've got our Cabot stain down there, which is colours known as Blackburn. So I'm going to start by cutting everything in along the wall here, along this this board here, and see how it comes up. Hope it comes up good, because I'm really liking the colour of this natural timber, but you know, like I said, there's so many different shades and colours, and yeah, I've sort of got to get it uniformed. So yep, got a new brush as well. It's not top of the line, but it's okay. It'll do the job. It's a nice fine brush, so it should get into all the grain, and do the job well. So yeah, I'll give it a crack and see how we go. Okay, moment of truth. All the cutting in's been done. Here we go. Okay, it's saying with new timber, you should let it weather for 4 to 6 weeks before you apply stain. So it looks like I'm not going to be able to do the side I've just installed for 4 to 6 weeks. I could probably attempt it, but I don't know how it's going to turn out. And if it doesn't turn out well, I'm going to have to sand it all. So that was a bit of a disappointing find. Thought I'd just read the label in regards to. I knew what to do with this timber, because this timber's 25 years old. It tells you what to do with used timber, and I'll just check and see what it says in regards to new timber. And it said, yeah, 4 to 6 weeks. So. This will require 3 coats according to the Cabot's instructions for me to get the finish I want on it. So we'll do 1 coat today, which is what I wanted to do, and then what we will do thereafter is we will fix up any of these screw head holes that need filling again. So that filler will go over the first coat, and we will then proceed with the second and third coats. It's a real pain having that one horizontal board there, or vertical board, whatever, it depends which way you look at it. But it's yeah, you've got to go with the grain. It says you have to go with the grain. So yeah. Many weeks of sanding and scrubbing here. Just hope it turns out the way I want it. One thing I did forget to do was drill out the holes for the lights that go into the side of the head. And seeing I can't stain that area for a couple of weeks, I can drill them anytime. this first coat's giving you a good idea of where all the lows are in regards to the screw heads. Okay, first coat's on. Everything's cleaned up. Now I'll be looking forward to putting on a second coat tomorrow, and maybe even a third later in the afternoon. It's day 2. Going to put another coat on. Okay, the second coat's finished. And it's actually starting to look really good now. But I'm quite happy with the way that's coming up. I think that's going to be really nice. I think it's like the fence. When I painted the fence that day, it didn't look like much coverage went on it, and overnight as the timber absorbed the paint, somehow it made the colour stand out in the morning. And because I thought I was going to have to give it another coat, and because it just looked patchy and it looked horrible, and the fence come up fantastic, you know, couldn't be happier, which is good because it saved me some paint so I can finish off down the side. But this is pretty much the same, you know. They put that first coat on, you can still see all the brown through it. Now all that brown's starting to disappear, and all that Jarrah filler is starting to absorb the stain. So yeah, it's going along all right. You can see, hopefully the camera will pick it up, you can see spots over there where it looks really dull, where it's already started to dry off, because obviously we've got the wind coming across the backyard here, and I started in that corner and basically worked my way back, which I have to do, otherwise I'll paint myself into a corner, and that started to dry really nice. So I'm quite happy with it at the moment. A couple of little mishaps. I just sort of caught the brickwork there and didn't realise at the time, but it seems to come off the brickwork pretty easy. So before I do the third coat tomorrow, I'll just give that a clean up. Same with the pipes, I'll just go around it and just wipe it off. Not that it matters, because they've got to be repainted, as I said. And yeah, I'm also thinking too, like, I've been looking at this step, and I actually really like that raw timber look. I think it just adds another feature to the deck. So I'm actually thinking about leaving that natural timber. Now I've got some clear coat that I used. It's a water base. It's a brand that Masters used to keep called Hellman. Fantastic water based stain. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll leave this for the 4 to 6 weeks to weather, as the Cabot stain says you should before coating anything. We'll get that waxy substance to deteriorate over that time, because it seems to have a waxy film on it. So we'll get that to deteriorate over time, and then what I'll do is I'll do a quick sand, because all those side panels are actually panels. They come off as one piece, so I can just take the screws out and it all comes off as one attached panel. And then I'll just take unscrew the 3 boards here, sand them back, and then I'll clear coat them. This I will paint. I will stain this on this side. I was thinking though, if I put some sort of garden in along here, I like those river pebbles, those shiny black river pebbles you can buy. I'd like to do maybe something like that here, which I think would be really nice. And the bottom board wouldn't be seen because obviously the garden bed's got to sit up a little bit, but I could actually also clear coat these boards. But I think the only problem with that is when you stand here, it would just look odd. It would look odd. I'd need to run some sort of stainless steel right angle down the corner there to separate the sides. It'd be like a cut-off point, so that side would remain grey, and then this side would remain a feature like the step. So I'm not 100% sure yet. I've just got a lot of things going on in my head for ideas, because I don't want to overkill the colour. Like, it's on the roof, it's a different colour on the gutters and the fascias. They actually call that gully, so it's sort of like a green. I don't know how to explain it. It's not a grey, it's not a green, it's something in between. Because I knew that getting grey gutters would just be too much overkill, and it'd just be too dark once I painted the windows black. So I just wanted to break that up. And it'll be the same with this. I don't want too much overkill. That's why I went with the brownish type shade sail, because that goes in really well with the brickwork. So that sort of is not out of place. It's sort of, they're very similar in colour. And then I'm thinking that the step will be very similar to the brickwork and to the sail, and that will just be another feature to break up the grey a little bit. But we'll see. What I do on this side, I've got 6 weeks to think about it, so yeah. But yeah, I'm really happy with that.